Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. In the pick'em game, you can pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in that week's game for a chance to win big. And as you already know, I'm going Josh Allen higher in yards every single week. So sign up today with promo code Buffalo Fanatics and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with promo code Buffalo Fanatics to get your first deposit doubled up to $100.
You're listening to Rated Rev on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. Yo, what is going on? Buffalo Fanatics in the house, baby. Saturday night live. What's going on? What's poppin'? It's your man Rev, and you are now tuned in to a Saturday night edition of Rated Rev, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. Smash that like. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Handsome comes in early on. He says, yo, Rev off mute. JK, brother. Well, guess what? I saw that message early and I made sure my mic was not muted. So let's get this thing popping. I need everybody right now in the chat to drop where you're watching from. This is a Rated Rev roll call, baby. You know how we do it. Every week, from week to week, we bring you that heat. We'll clear the table. It's time to eat, and let's get it popping, baby. Yo, I'm so excited. As always, grace and peace. God bless to everybody who is joining me live right now, and to those who will watch the replay. What's good? Welcome to Rated Rev. I hope you guys had a fantastic Saturday. Hope y'all's weekend has been good so far. Got a chance to lay back and relax, enjoy the nice new fall weather. Where I am in Texas, fall is looking pretty good. The leaves are falling. We got that beautiful color going on. I'm excited. I love it. This is my season. I don't know if you guys have like a favorite season or not, but fall is probably like my best season of all. I love. First of all, I hate the summer. I'm not a summer guy, especially down here in Texas. The heat is ridiculous. And so as soon as the weather changes, which is probably it's kind of like late, in the season, Texas summers roll all the way through the end of September into October. It just starts getting cool around October. So when we finally get that nice fall weather starting late October, I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is and then Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday. No disrespect to all the other holidays. No disrespect to Christmas. I love Christmas too. But man, Thanksgiving, I love it. And you guys are gonna find out just how much I like it here in the next probably couple weeks or so. I'm gonna be playing some very special music, intro music, just to kind of get everybody in the right mood. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I love the fall. I love it. Matter of fact, you guys let me know, what is your favorite season? Are you a summer person? You a fall person? You a winter person? Maybe you like it super cold, the snow, all that. Are you a spring person? Let me know what you guys think. For me, it is the best weather. Yeah, Hill Slater comes in and says, "Yo, this is the best. The best weather is perfect right here in Texas. I mean, this is it. This weather right here is perfect in Texas. And I absolutely love it. I do. But let me go ahead and check to see everybody where you guys are watching me from. I got Chris 716 from South Buffalo. What's going on, baby? Augustine coming in, Haines City, Florida. I've got Garbage Plate from Fairport, New York. Let's go. James coming in from Niagara, Ontario. What's good? What's good? What's good? Hey, if this is your first time joining the show, what's happening? I'm so glad that you joined, first and foremost. My name is Rev. You are watching Rated Rev on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. Do me this favor. Hit the like button. Trust me, you're going to like the show. Subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you're going to love the channel. Buffalo Fanatics, the best network, bringing you the best and Bills content. That's how I feel. It is what it is. Call me biased, whatever the case may be, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? And go to supportbf.com and follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. Yo, we've got a show to talk about today. We got some things we want to get into. The Buffalo Bills, man, look, what are we thinking about this team? What are we thinking about this team? I don't know. Personally, I'm almost like, I am almost at the point to where, and I don't want to be that guy, but I'm almost at the points where I'm like, yo, if they don't get their acts together, like quick, fast, in a hurry, I'm done. Like the season is over. Forget it. I'm trying to be like that fan, and the homer in me is like, yo, hold on, Rev, hold on. But then there's like and maybe it's, I guess I wouldn't call it realistic, but I'll call it the pessimistic side of me. It's like, man, there ain't no way in the world this team is finna climb out of this hole and right the ship and all that. Pack it up. The Bills are done. And so I'm kind of like, I'm trying to balance this thing right here. But the Buffalo Bills they don't help me any in that department. You know what I'm saying? Like, they suck me in with some of their good performances and some of the ways that they win. But then they have these lulls in the year, and they just go back and forth, Jekyll and Hyde Bills. They're inconsistent, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. And when I look at this team on paper, this team is one of the best teams in the NFL. No doubt about it. Super Bowl contending team on paper. When you look at the talent on this roster, and to see them underachieve, and I know it's kind of hard to say underachieve, right? Because they're 5-4, and I'm like, there's so much football left to play, right? We hear that cliche, oh, Rev, they're just at the halfway point of the season and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I get it. But doesn't it feel like it's a kind of like we're treading on rough terrain right here? Like, this is rocky ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost feels like, even though this is the halfway point of the season, it almost feels like at 5-4, this next game or the next two games could really determine the way this season goes, right? I mean, yeah, you get 17 games to play, but not all 17 games count when it comes to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be out of that thing real quick. And as Bills fans, we know that feeling all too well, right? The drought era Bills, where it goes to like, oh, we're in the hunt, but we really don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're out of it by Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, it's a wrap. Season's done. We're talking about the draft. I don't want to go there again. But for me, like right now, I can't help but think about that. It almost seems as if like it's on the horizon. Like, unless these Buffalo Bills do something now, we really and truly could be talking about could the Buffalo Bills miss the playoffs? I know that's hard to fathom. People don't want to talk about it. It's almost taboo, right? I mean, because how could we, as far away from that style of play, as far away from the drought era Bills as we are, it's almost taboo to even think about us missing the playoffs. We've gone so long without making the playoffs, and then we finally got there. And ever since Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have taken over the helm, we have been in the postseason all but 1 year. And so we've experienced a level of success that this fan base has not experienced in decades. And so it's like, you don't want to let that go. But at what point? But at some point, I mean, it's like you can see it creeping back up again. And I don't like it. I don't know about you, but for me, I don't like it. I don't want to see it again. I thought that guy was dead. I thought it was long gone. But when I look at the way these Buffalo Bills have been playing, I'm really discouraged. And you know what I mean? I really am. And I had said it before that going into this season, matter of fact, going back to the end of last year against the Bengals, I said, you know what? For me, going into the 2023-24 year, I'm not going to get too high, get too low. I'm going to remain even keel. Whatever happens in the regular season happens. It doesn't matter. To me, it's all about the postseason. And I allowed my fandom to suck me in and bring me away from that mindset, because I mean, I'm a fan. At the end of the day, I'm a fan, and I'm an emotional fan at that. And so I'm riding this emotional roller coaster week in and week out. And I'm looking at it, and as much as I want to go back to that intent about saying, hey, it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season, it's all about the postseason. Now I'm like, if they even get there, right? I mean, if they even get there, I mean, the Bills are 5-4 right now. Thankfully, last week, even though they got dominated by the Bengals, and I know the score doesn't say that, but we all saw the game. We know the Bengals completely dominated the Bills. Outside of that, the Bills, first drive where they scored points, you know what I'm saying? And, after that, the game was really, it was done for, especially in the second half. The Bills were done. They got completely dominated by the Bengals once again. Thought it was going to be a different story. No, guess what? No, it's not. It wasn't. But thankfully, the rest of the AFC East lost as well. And so because the rest of the AFC East lost, that meant that the Bills remain in second place. The Bills currently remain in second place in the AFC East, just behind the Miami Dolphins, who are 6-3. And the Bills are 5-4. But they are only a game ahead of the New York Jets. Can you believe that? The New York Jets. This race is a lot tougher than I think many of us anticipated. And really not even just within the division. When you look at the AFC in general, it's a tight race. It really is. I mean, you look at the conference right now, yeah, the Bills are second place in the East, but right now, the Bills are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are 8th. They are currently the 8th seed in the AFC right now. You get the Kansas City Chiefs at 1. You get the Ravens behind them. Then they got the Jags and the Dolphins. Those are the top 4 division winners. And then it goes to Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, Bengals, and the Bills. The Bengals are just ahead of us right now. And they have the tiebreaker because they won. It's going to be tough. And then just behind the Bills, you got the Houston Texans at 4-4. The Chargers, the Jets, all at 4-4. It's a log jam. It really is. It's a log jam. So this is going to come down to it, to the wire, I think. And really, depending upon what the Bills do Monday night, the Bills could be in some serious trouble. I mean, let's just say, let's just call it like it is. They could be in some serious trouble. If they lose to the Broncos on Monday Night Football, we're going to talk about it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're definitely going to talk about it. But I just want to kind of put that primer out there to let everybody know, just kind of like this is serious. This is serious business. The players are going to downplay it. It's just another week on the schedule. We've got a whole lot of football ahead of us, blah, blah, blah. They're going to say that. They have to. But I'm telling you right now, from a mathematical perspective, when it comes to how this playoff scenario falls, and you know what I'm saying? Like, the Bills can't lose. This is about as must win of a game as it gets. It is hard. It stinks to say that, considering that this is just week 10. And if you don't believe me that I think that this is serious business, I mean, the Bills just had an offensive players only meeting led by Latavius Murray, a guy who just got on the roster. He just got on the squad. He just came here. Latavius Murray said, yo, he threw a flag on the play. Flag on the play. Hey, hold up. Time out. Yo, hey, we need to meet. Offense only. This is some serious business. And we need to get down to the brass tacks and have a conversation about this. Because I didn't come here for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for real. Because it really is. And so you got a guy like Latavius Murray coming in, holding a players-only meeting, offensive players-only meeting. You know it's serious. And we're talking about week 10. Week 10. Now, obviously, we don't know what all was discussed. But I hope, man, they had a serious coming to Jesus meeting. You know what I mean? And guys got stuff off of their chest. And it was a for real meeting. But when I think about it, people have been kind of like wondering, like, why would Latavius Murray be holding this meeting? And I'm like, yo, I don't care. I'm actually glad he did it. Somebody needed to step up. And in my opinion, you know, I mean, take it for what it is. It just ain't nuts. I mean, much of nothing. But when I think about the fact that Latavius Murray, of all people, held this meeting, I'm like, yo, is there a leadership void on this team, on the offense, in the offensive room? Is there a leadership void? Why did it take a guy who just came on the team this offseason? Granted, he is a seasoned veteran, but last time I checked, he's not wearing a C on his chest. He's not a captain. That's not to say that because he's not a captain, he can't speak up. I'm glad he did, because apparently our captains didn't say jack. You would expect this kind of a meeting on offense to be held or started or initiated by one of our offensive captains. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. But no, none of them did it. I don't know what Josh is doing. Sitting there worried about his Hollywood lifestyle. I don't know, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just frustrates me. Just think like, why, like, how come our captains aren't doing this? Especially our captains on offense. Like, what is going on? I need some dogs on this. And that's not to say, look, trust me. Stephon Diggs is a dog. He is him. And I think Diggs probably didn't want to be the one to do it because he took all the arrows and all the shots in the offseason. He was calling it like it was. He felt some type of way. And he needed to hash it out. And he didn't need the whole offense to be there. All he needed was him. You know what I'm saying? He needed Josh, Ken Dorsey probably, Sean McDermott. He didn't need the whole offense. And he took all the bullets. People questioning him, wondering, you know, Diggs in this drama and blah, 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 blah. And Diggs is like, I'm done. I had my meeting. I'm a captain. I did what I had to do the offseason. Y'all next. And Josh, he didn't do nothing. It's just weird, man. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It really is weird. And I get it. Like there's different leadership styles. Not everybody has the same, you know, way in which they go about doing things. And I get it. But man, like you feel like if you got that C on your chest, you're gonna have to come out of your shell. And you have to come out of yourself. And I need this from my leader, Josh Allen. I need this from you. I'm talking to you now, really. He's the face. You're the face of the franchise. You need to be the one galvanizing the whole team, especially the offense. And I'm about fed up with all of this cliche nonsense that we hear in the media. Oh, well, you know, we're gonna get it together and you know, it's just, you know, the same old mumbo jumbo, man. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the talk. Actions speak louder than words, and right now, I need to see some action. I really do. I need to see some action because this is almost, I'm like, see, I'm getting worked up again. See now, I'm almost at the fed up point with this team, and I shouldn't get there. We shouldn't be here right now. Not with this team. This is not a young team still trying to figure it out. We're talking about a team that has been in the postseason the last several years, 4 years. Been to the AFC Championship game, been to divisional round, you know, like they've been there. Granted, they hadn't really accomplished nothing when you talk about like Super Bowl. Obviously, you can't go there every year, but they have experience. This is a veteran team. There's something going on. There really is. There's something going on. And I don't know what it is. Because you have guys who are heavy in the analytics and that has its place. And they're looking at the numbers and they're like, well, when you look at the numbers, you look at the analytics, something doesn't line up because the analytics are telling us that this Bills offense is a top 5 offense in the NFL. You look at the numbers that Josh Allen is putting up, MVP type of numbers so far, 10 weeks in, 9 weeks in. But then when you look at the product on the field, you don't really see it. So it's not lining up. What is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got everybody confused. Everybody. And it doesn't help when you have your leadership. And I'm talking about guys like Ken Dorsey and Sean McDermott talking about how the offense is still trying to find its identity. How in the world, 9 weeks into the regular season, are you still trying to figure that out? How does it take 9 weeks to figure out who you are on offense? How? What's going on there? Like, that's the kind of thing you figure out in the offseason, preseason. I'll give you the first couple of games in the regular season, maybe even the first quarter. But 9 weeks in, you still don't have a clue as to who you are on offense? That's a major problem, ladies and gentlemen. A major problem. And they better figure it out real quick before they find themselves sitting at home in the postseason. Sitting at home. Which, if they don't get their heads out of there, you know what? It might be the best thing for them. It really might be. Something needs to. Have you ever been around somebody, man, and you've tried your best. Maybe it's a friend that's in a toxic relationship, or you know what I'm saying, or something like that, and you're trying to tell them about themselves. You try to tell them like, yo, get out of this relationship. What are you doing with this person? This is not good for you. And they still kind of in their own zone. They're not listening, and you have to grab them up and you got to shake them like man, wake yourself up, man. Like, what's going on with you? And they still may not even wake up until something happens in that relationship that really oh dang, yo, why didn't I see this? You know what I'm saying? It may take something like the Bills missing the postseason for them to wake the heck up. Because you cannot, as a coach, Sean McDermott, you can't talk about Super Bowl caliber when your team on offense, your offense is doing this. And then, I don't know. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. It is a mess. We got to call it like it is. It's a mess. We can't sugarcoat this. Take off take off those rose-colored glasses. I mean, just call it for what it is. Call a spade a spade. This offense is a mess. It's a problem. It is. And there's plenty of blame to go around. We could talk about Ken Dorsey, who I don't have trust in anyway. I didn't have trust in him from the end of last year. I gave him a pass because that's the homer in me. I was like, let me give him a pass. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really have a whole lot of faith, I'm being honest. But then I can't even really fully blame Ken, because when I look at it, and I see some of the people putting up these all 22 clips, and I'm like, yo, Josh is just as much to blame because he's missing guys wide open. And I'm like, yo, Josh, what's going on? Like, you need to get your head out of your butt. I don't know what's up. But to me, and I could be wrong, this could just be me speaking emotionally, and I'm cool with that. But to me, it seems like Josh hasn't been the same since he got a taste of success in the playoffs against Pat Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like that year, and it may have been, and I don't think it was 2020 when they went to the AFC Championship game, because nobody really expected that. But the year after that, when he went toe to toe against Mahomes in the division round, I think after that he started feeling himself a little too much. I could be wrong, but this is just my outside perception. I think he's feeling himself a little bit too much. He's starting to become this quote unquote superstar athlete, and ditches his girl from back home, you know what I'm saying? And now he's dating a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like, and trust, I mean, I ain't knocking the guy for his personal life choice. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm saying. But it just seems like perhaps the guy may be, perhaps his attention may be diverted, and I could be wrong. I mean, he did tell us this offseason that he hasn't been, more focused than he is now. Well, I don't know, because when you look at the field, when you look at his performance on the field, and the way he's not seeing the field and making these ridiculous mistakes and these turnovers and these missing these guys wide open. What's up, Josh? What's going on? Like what is going on? Like, it's one thing for me to blame Ken Dorsey, but I can't blame him when you're doing this. When you got guys wide open, you're not even looking at them. Like, I don't get it. Help me. Y'all help me out. I don't know what's going on with this team, with this offense. You know, I can't even talk about the defense. And I give them a pass. I give the defense a pass. They have been absolutely decimated by injury. Absolutely decimated. I have never seen a team hit with so many injuries to their starters on one side of the ball as I have the 2023 Buffalo Bills. It is absurd. I put out a tweet earlier today, just sharing the players that the defensive injuries to the starters. We have Daquan Jones out indefinitely, starting defensive tackle. Matt Milano, linebacker, out indefinitely for the season. Right? This game, we've got Terrell Bernard, starting linebacker, questionable, okay, with a concussion. Tre'Davious White, starting cornerback, out indefinitely. Christian Benford, this game, out. Micah Hyde, safety, out. Could be career-ending. I don't know. Could be. Another neck injury. It's not looking good. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starters on defense out this game. 5 out indefinite. How can you overcome that on defense? I know it's next man up mentality, but come on now. At some point, like, your depth is depth for a reason. You feel me? Like, these backup players are not, they're backup players because they're not better than the starters. And so you're really having to rely heavily on your backups to kind of make up for the losses. And I mean, man, come on, like, going in Monday night, we're gonna have 6 backup players starting on defense. 6 out of 11. And that's not to include the rotation on the defensive line. So you're going to have backups to backups playing. Like, it's a mess on defense. It's a mess. And I commend Sean McDermott, the defensive staff, for even holding on as long as they have been. My expectations for the defense are very low. Very low. To no fault of their own. None whatsoever. They're held together by duct tape and Flex Seal. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's bad. It's really bad on defense. It really is. Now, we're going to have a chance to see whether or not these new additions in Linval Joseph and Rasul Douglas are going to be able to help. But even at that, I mean, I don't know, because the Bills are just now going to, they're about to enter the gauntlet of teams they're going to face offensively. And this Denver Broncos team on offense, you cannot overlook them. I mean, they're flying high off of their win against the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you know, I always felt like that team on offense, they have the weapons. And they have the coach in Sean Payton, the offensive-minded head coach. They just needed time to get their stuff together. And it seems like they're kind of getting it together. Don't think for 1 second that this game is going to be a cupcake game. Just chalk it up for a dub for the Buffalo Bills. It may not be that easy, I'm telling you right now. And if the offense still has its issues, they're going to lose this game too. They're definitely going to lose this game too if they don't get themselves together. We've got a super chat here coming in from my man Scott Van Loo. Scott, I appreciate it. He says, yo, Rev, I really missed the 2022 Buffalo Bills when they dominated. They came out 13-3 season. Know that they have to win out in order to get in the playoffs. Well, yeah, Scott. I mean, they did dominate last year. They dominated. Even in spite of their offensive issues, because if you remember correctly, probably like around the second half of that Green Bay Packers game, that offense did not look the same. That offense began to change, and it was heavily reliant upon Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Fortunately, they had gotten themselves a cushion of wins against a very, very favorable schedule, to where going into those other wins, the rest of the wins and the rest of the season, it was favorable for them. People talked about it last year too. I mean, they had a fairly easy schedule last year, which is why they were able to kind of, I wouldn't say coast to 13-3, but the Josh Diggs connection worked, halfway through the regular season, and it got them into the postseason. But we saw what happened when they played the Dolphins. They almost lost to the Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins, and then we saw what happened when they faced against, a juggernaut and the Bengals. They got bounced. It wasn't even close. And then this year now, that Josh Diggs is not working. They can't rely on him. Teams are not letting that happen. Even though the numbers are looking good, but the offense is sputtering right now. And they're 5-4. So, yeah, I miss when the Bills would dominate. And like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, any moment now, right? Any moment now, they're going to flip the switch and they're going to turn it on, and it's just going to be, smooth sailing from here on out. And the Bills offense is going to get back to being who they are, or who we have seen them become. But is it that easy, though? Is it going to be that easy for them? You guys let me know. You guys let me know in the chat. Is it going to be that easy for the Buffalo Bills going forward? Can they just flip the switch? What do you guys think? What do you think about the whole messaging of Sean McDermott? Because this is where I want to shift gears. I want to talk about whether or not the Buffalo Bills have lost faith in the process. Does this team still, finger quote, trust the process? What do y'all think about that? My man, Bryce Martino, contributor to the Buffalo Fanatics. Go follow him if you haven't followed him, at Bills by Bryce on X. He put out an article where he talked about it. Have the Buffalo Bills lost faith in the process? And he talks about the hot start, just like they have really started, for the past couple of years, and then all of a sudden they hit this lull. And he says, the process looked like the best thing since the K-gun offense in the 90s. Now it's looking like the 17 Buffalo Bills did. Average. Good enough to win games, but not against the top-tier teams when it matters the most. This may seem like a Sean McDermott knock, which it is. And he truly built this organization from the ground up. But if this is what his process looks like 7 years later, the Bills are going to have to look elsewhere to get them over the proverbial hump. Mic drop from my man Bryce Martino. The process. Are you, as a Bills fan, still trusting in the process? Are you still drinking that process Kool-Aid? Or has it sat out on the counter too long with ice, and it now it's gotten watered down and it doesn't taste as sweet? It doesn't taste the same. Now it's kind of bland, and it makes you want to pour it out. What are your thoughts on the process now? Because it made a whole lot of sense that coming in, right? I mean, the Bills needed that. And trust me, man, like, I'm a Sean McDermott guy. I like Sean McDermott. I appreciate what he has done for this team, this organization, this franchise, this fan base. You cannot take anything away from what he has done. He was the right guy for the job right when we needed him. To change the culture, all of that. And he has done a phenomenal job. He and Brandon Beane and their staff, kudos to them, no doubt. But at some point, it becomes all about production. And even at that, it's hard to really critique the guy because he's taking us to the playoffs. And this team has had a winning season. All but 1 year out of his tenure. But like, has Sean McDermott plateaued with this team? You know what I mean? Like, has he gotten this team as far as he can get them? Again, this is no knock on him. None. But like some coaches, they're just built for a certain role. I go back to like Bill Parcells in Dallas. Like he was cut just to change the culture, get things back on track, get them back in position to where they're winning, and then I've done my job and I'm gone. If you want somebody to get you over the hump, you need somebody else. You need a finisher. Is McDermott, is he just a culture guy? If you have a team that has not seen the postseason, not been to playoffs for a number of years, they've had toxic coach after toxic coach, and maybe the players in the locker room is toxic, and you need somebody to go in there and really flush it out, instill a different culture, a winning culture, to get you guys back on track, get you winning, get you, get the taste of winning in your mouth and make you competitive consistently. But then that's it. It can't get you any further. I'll get you to the postseason. Maybe you win, a couple of playoff games, for a few years. But when you need to get over that hump, he's not that guy. That's okay. If that's who he is, that's okay. But I need him to know who he is, and I need this organization, talking about from the top, Brandon Beane, the Pagulas, I need them to know who he is. Is this who he is? Because as much as I, as a Bills fan, want to hang on to hope and believe that this guy is going to take us to the promised land, what if he's just Moses? You know what I'm saying? What if all he can do is take you to the mountain, but he can't cross over to Jordan? He can't take you to, he can't cross you over. Maybe this team needs the Joshua and the Caleb. And I'm sorry, I'm going as a biblical reference. You know what I'm saying? But maybe for those of y'all who understand what I'm talking about, you understand what I'm talking about. Like, maybe we need that guy who can cross us over. And of course, I'm not giving up yet. Time will tell. We'll see. But I don't want to waste Josh Allen's prime hoping that Sean McDermott can get us over the hump. I don't want to do that, because a talent like Josh Allen does not come every year. It really doesn't. Do we want to? Man, no, we don't want that to happen. Like, Josh is in year 6, year 7? Come on, man. And NFL history is not even on our side. They say that like a coach and a quarterback combo, the coach and the quarterback who have, been coaching and playing together, if they don't win the Super Bowl within the first 5 years, they don't win it. They don't even get there. If they don't get there within 5 years, history says it does not happen. Well, this coaching staff, this quarterback combo is beyond that 5-year mark. Take it for what that's worth. Maybe the Bills are going to be, maybe they're going to change history, rewrite history. I don't know. James comes in with a super chat. He says, yo, McDermott and Bean are connected at the hip. Both got to go if the proverbial you-know-what hits the fan. Let's wait and see how the season ends. Not optimistic. And James, I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see, right? We're going to have to wait and see how the season ends. And I get it that, I mean, we say that they're tied at the hip because, I mean, you got McDermott came in first, and then he, was the one who was responsible for bringing in Brandon Bean because of their connection with Carolina. But what if the Pagulas are like, I don't feel like going through a GM change, and I don't necessarily think that the problem is the GM. What if he's like, I believe that the problem is the coach, and I'm able to stick with the GM and just find me another coach. I don't necessarily know that he'd be willing to blow the whole operation up, because I still think that Brandon Bean is a good general manager. I do. I think he's a good general manager. Are his drafts the best? No. I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, unless you're picking in the top 10, it's going to be tough. And he's been picking in the bottom every year, outside of the year when they drafted Ed Oliver at 9. And so it's tough. I mean, this is going to be hit or miss. So I'm okay with Brandon Bean. But they may need to make a decision at head coach. And we'll see. I don't necessarily want to blow the whole thing up. I really don't. I'm like, hey, change the coach and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. You guys let me know what y'all think about that. Come here, son. My son in here trying to tell me good night. Good night. Say good night.
Good night.
Say go Bills, man.
Go Bills.
Say it.
Go Bills.
My son trying to say go Bills. He's believing in the Bills. His dad, however, is the little kind of, I don't know. Good night, son. Love you. So, back to James's point, like, I don't know. I'm not quite there yet. I don't want to, even if let's just play hypothetical here. If the Bills miss the playoffs, do you think they need to blow the whole thing up? And this is a question for the chat, for everybody. If the Buffalo Bills miss the playoffs, do they need to blow the whole thing up? I'm talking about fire head coach, all the coaching staff, GM, all of that. Or do you think they need to just make a coaching change? Let me know. I don't want to do that, man. I really don't. So, anyway, that's kind of where my thoughts are, man. Like I'm just here right now. You know what I'm saying? And even when I look at this matchup against the Denver Broncos, I can't even get thrilled about it. And I'm so sorry. I really am. I'm so sorry, if I'm letting you guys down, but I honestly cannot get myself excited about this game. Now, will I watch it? Yeah, I'll watch it. But, I'm going to watch it like I did last week. And I don't know, maybe I'm the only one. But last week, normally, I got my gear on, I got my jersey on, my hat on. I'm sitting here, I'm excited, I'm ready to go. Then last week against the Bengals, I wasn't even feeling it. I was sitting in my couch, man. I was sitting here like, hat over my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even take it. And just hoping and praying that they would win. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Like, I'm just like, I'm not there. They've really just zapped me dry. They really have. And it's tough because when you look at, let's just look at this team here. On defense, they are depleted, right? Absolutely depleted, decimated. You know, my expectations for the defense, like I said earlier, very low. Okay. So then if your defense is hanging on by a thread, if Sean McDermott's putting some flex seal on that defense to try to keep them from, you know what I'm saying, from sinking, at some point, man, at some point, the levee's going to burst, right? You know what I'm saying? At some point, it's going to bust. They can only hold on for so long. And I could see if players like Matt Milano and Daquan Jones and all, if there was guaranteed that these guys are coming back at some point in the season, they weren't on IR, we would be getting Tre'Davious White. Maybe he wasn't on season-ending IR, and it was just maybe 6-7 weeks. I would be okay. But these guys are gone. They're gone. They're not coming back. Outside of barring a miracle, we may not see them back. Daquan Jones may be back December sometime. That's another month away. Who knows where the Bills will be by then? They may already be out of it. Matt Milano, it could be later than that. So I'm not hanging my hopes on those guys to come back. Right now, it is what it is. We're going to have to deal with who we have on this team right now. And on defense, it's not looking good. And so what that lets me know is the offense is going to have to carry this team. The question is, can they? Or better yet, will they? Because we know that they have the capability. They're capable of doing it. We've seen them in spurts. But is that just because they're able to show that side of themselves against inferior teams? I don't know. At one point, I thought, well, maybe they just play up and down to their opponent. Well, they didn't play up to the Bengals. They didn't play up to them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. This team is very inconsistent offensively. I have no idea what to expect from week to week. I don't know. I really don't know. Coming off of that Bucs game, we saw something there, right? We saw the no-huddle offense. We thought, okay, maybe this is it. And then the Bengals game, outside of that first series, it was a wrap. It was done. They didn't do it anymore. And then you had Josh Allen talking about, well, it just wasn't a part of the game plan. What do you mean? You see what I'm saying? What do you mean? Yo, I don't know, man. I just don't know. And they're still trying to figure it out, which frustrates me even more. They're still trying to figure out who they are on offense. Mind you, this is a fully healthy offense we're talking about. An offense that does not have any injuries to their starters at all. Fully healthy. Knock on wood. How is a team, an offense, with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, of course, minus Dawson Knox. You've got an entire offensive line, Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern, Mitch Morse, rookie Osiris Torrance, Spencer Brown. You've got running backs minus Harris. I get it. But James Cook, starter, Latavius Murray. And then you added Leonard Fournette on the practice squad. How do you, how are you still trying to figure out who you are? I don't get it. I just don't understand. And I think that this game, Monday night, is the moment of truth for the Buffalo Bills. It really is. Yo, he'll slur because it's this segment of Rated Rev is brought to you by Flex Seal. Oh, that's funny. I just saw that. That's what it feels like, man. On defense, bro, they got that. You see that guy, right? With that flex tape. Slaps on, boom, Flex Seal, baby. That's kind of what Sean McDermott is doing with the defense. But anyway, what was I saying, man? I kind of lost track of where I was going. Oh yeah, this game Monday night, it's do or die. It's the moment of truth time. Who are you made of? Who is this team made of? That's what I want to see. Man, forget years past. And I know, and like as fans, like and trust me, I'm not like telling you not to do this. But man, we try to kind of find some silver lining, right? We try to find something to hang our hats on to, well, remember last year when the Bills, were facing such incredible adversity, and you had the DeMar Hamlin situation, you had, the top shooting, and you had, the injuries that they sustained, and you had the, the weather and, the snowstorm and all that. We had all that adversity, but the Bills still managed to overcome. They finished the year 13-3, yeah, but they still got bounced second round in the playoffs. And then we're like, well, the emotions of the season were just too much for the Bills to overcome, and at that point, they just burst. Flex Seal did not work at that time. Right? Can I get my money back on that? Because Flex Seal didn't work. You know what I'm saying? But, and so, like, we try to, find out, well, dang, they did it last year, so maybe they can do it again this year. Or we go back, and I've heard even Brandon Beane, either Beane or McDermott made mention of the 21 Bills, and how they were towards the middle part of the season. They were up and down, win one, win, loss, all the way until December. And they finally got on a hot streak and won, I think, the last 4 or 5 games. And at one point before they went on that win streak, the New England Patriots were leading the division. And so had it not have been for the Bills win streak and then the Patriots kind of fell off. The Bills, we could have been talking about the Bills maybe missing the playoffs that year. But anyway, they went on that run. Offense wasn't really looking good, but they started to click. It was one game in particular. I think it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. When they were in Tampa Bay, they lost the game, but they came back. And they just didn't have enough time on the clock in overtime, and they lost. But they came back in that game, and we said, that could be what jumpstarts the offense. And it did. And we saw what they were able to do the rest of the way. And they went on an incredible win streak in the regular season, and they were flaming hot in the playoffs until 13 seconds, and we know what happened, right? That was a year. I'll just go on record and say it right now. That was our year. And I think that was, what year was that? 18, 19, 20, 21? Was that 4 years in? That would have been the year the Bills to win the Super Bowl, where the odds, the odds were in our favor. 5 years, head coach, quarterback combo, Super Bowl. 2021. That was the year. 13 seconds. That was our year. It's been downhill ever since. Just saying. So, even when you look back at that year, at that season, and how the season ended, the regular season, mind you, you try to grab at it and say, okay, but they did it then, so they should be able to do it now. And yeah, they've had those experiences that they can lean on, but this is a different year, a different season, a different team facing different circumstances. Defense is about done. You know what I'm saying? Offense don't know who they are. So this team on offense is really going to have to carry the whole team. And I'm thinking, they're going to have to score a crazy amount of points. Crazy amount of points. And would it be something? The offense finally starts to click. 30-plus points a game. And when they finally click, the defense says, I give up. We can't do it anymore. We can't overcome these injuries. And the Bills end up losing games 33-38. It's just that serious. But, is there hope? Yeah, of course there's hope. There's hope. It may be a little bit, but there's hope. we'll see what these Bills do. We will see what they do. But it starts Monday night. It really does. Monday night against the Broncos. They can't look, and these Broncos, man, like, look, they are, and I don't care what the record says, you can't look at 3-5. You really can't. Just like we couldn't look at the Bengals record when they were, when we played them. 4-3, and they were, had one good game against the Niners, and people were like, kind of like, but that's, the Bengals, that offense, it's not gelling, they've been this and that. You look at the stats and numbers, and what happened? Boom, Bills got whatever. So you really can't look at that kind of stuff. It's all about matchups in this league in any given Sunday, right? There's parity. We've seen it. You can get beat by any team could beat you any given Sunday. It really can. Who would have thought the Broncos would have beaten the Chiefs like they did? Well, they did it. And the Broncos on offense are looking pretty good, and the defense is getting better. So even though they're 3-5, they're feeling pretty good about their 3-5 and about who they are. And I can guarantee you, Sean Payton's going to have that offense ready to go. And we look at that offense, man, and like they hang their hat on their running game, which has been a Bills' weakness. So we will see how that goes. Let's talk about what it's going to take. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Like Jerna, no disrespect, man, but like, or lady, Broncos still suck. You can't really say that. You can't. The Jets suck too. But the Bills lost it in with Zach Wilson. Week 1. You can't say that. You can't. Especially not with this team. Not with this Jekyll and Hyde team. You never know. So whether they suck or not, they might look like a playoff team come Monday night against the Bills, who don't seem to know who they are right now. That's why you really have to just take it in stride. You have no idea. We have no idea. So what is it going to take for these Bills? What is it going to take? Like, what is it? If you could put your finger on one thing that could turn this team around, it's mainly on offense, right? The defense, they're going to give it their all, but offense is the main problem here. If you could put your finger on one thing, one key thing that, hey, this is it. This is the reason why the Bills have been what they are. And if they can do this, they're back on track. What is it? I see Augustine comes in and says, yo, play up tempo. Play up tempo. You know what? That's really been like the topic of conversation the past couple of weeks, right? Because it seemed like the Bills found something in that Bucs game where they went up tempo. But then we saw against the Bengals where they didn't do that. They did it the first series, and when they scored the touchdown, after that, really, in like the second half, they didn't do it. And we heard from Josh, and he says that was just the game plan. Like, that's just how the game plan was. So the game plan was, we're not going to do what we think is best to win. Basically. Up tempo works. Game plan is, but we're not doing that. We're going to try out some new things. My gosh, man, that coaching, man, I tell you what, dude. Golly. You're trying to figure out who you are because your offensive coordinator has no clue as to who you are. He can't coach you, right? Because he don't know what he wants his offense to be. Still trying to do some new things and trying to. Anyway, my man Yeston T. Harris, another contributor from the Buffalo Fanatics, he put out an article entitled "The Return of the K-Gun," where he's essentially talking about if the Buffalo Bills need to go back to that up-tempo style offense, you need to check that out. Check that article out. It's very, very informative. This is where, I kind of am, and it's kind of tough. And I might be able to understand where Sean McDermott could be coming from. Here's me trying to play devil's advocate, okay? So, if the Bills were to run this up-tempo offense, you have to factor in the fact that the defense is hanging on by a thread, very thin thread, okay? Here could be the problem with the up-tempo offense. It's going so fast, it does not run any clock off, really, any time off the clock. They have to be highly efficient on offense, highly efficient. They have to be almost perfect, meaning they cannot make any mistakes, basically. They cannot have any penalties. No false start penalties, no holding, none of that kind of stuff to get themselves behind the chains. They have to almost play flawless on offense if they want to run this up-tempo offense. The problem is the Buffalo Bills of late have been one of the most penalized teams on offense. And so when you try to run an up-tempo offense and then all of a sudden you get a good gain and it's flag on the play, false start, offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. You know what I'm saying? And so now you get behind the chains. And then you try to play hero ball, and then you may make a gain, and then all of a sudden, another flag on the play. Holding, offense, 79. You know what I'm saying? Or illegal formation. You know what I'm saying? So now you're backing yourself up. And you're playing this up-tempo game, and you're backing yourselves up because of penalties. 3 and out. Maybe you get a first down, and maybe you go, you run maybe 5-6 plays off the field. You run 2 minutes off the clock. Here comes the defense back on the field, and you don't score. And then the defense can't stop anybody. That opposing team scores a touchdown. The Bills get the ball back on offense. Up-tempo again. Bills don't score. Punt. Defense back on the you know what I'm saying? So, you have to play almost perfect offense if you're going to run this up-tempo thing, especially when it comes to when you look at the defense as depleted as they are. And so it comes to this whole quote-unquote complimentary, football, like Sean McDermott has been saying. You have to understand you have to understand the rest of the team. So, Ken Dorsey, when you call on this game, understand that the defense is highly compromised right now. And so if you're going to run this up-tempo offense, you better not make any mistakes. You better not call any dumb plays, and we better not have any penalties, and we better be highly efficient. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And so it's dangerous when you have a defense that's as depleted as the Bills are. And so the other side of the argument is don't run that up-tempo often, maybe here and there, but try to play keep away and have long sustaining drives that end in touchdowns or in points. Get back into 12 personnel, maybe get, Josh under center, get the running game involved more, and play a slower brand of football on offense because the defense cannot hold on. And if you're able to do that and you're successful at that type of game on offense, and you can come away in those long 12, 13 play drives that eat up 6-7 minutes of clock, and you come away with 7 points, that's so much better for the defense. And so there's this balance here that they're trying to play. And at the end of the day, it goes into though that may make sense theoretically, what is the best thing for the offense? Because at the end of the day, the offense has to score, right? The offense has to score enough points to win the game. And really, to score more points, than the opposing team, because the defense is probably going to be giving up a lot of points. So you want the offense to have to score a lot. Well, if the offense doesn't, but if the best way for the offense to score is up tempo, then you can't play a long, slow game. So, like, that could be the rub right here. And so the Bills have to figure that out. What works best? Well, I mean, this 12 personnel type thing, I mean, it worked early in the season, but this is a different time. Now we've got multitude of injuries. You know what I'm saying? And now the offense is not clicking. So like now what? We go back and we look now we're missing Dawson Knox. And so when we went to that up tempo 11 personnel, that was working against the Bucs. We went away from that in the Bengals game in the second half. Even though it worked early on, we went away from it. So maybe we need to pivot and go back to the up. At this point, we need to do whatever's going to work for this team on offense. What works best for the offense? If that's running it up tempo, then doggone it, you better run it up tempo. If the offense is unsuccessful, well, so what? I mean, the defense ain't gonna stop nobody anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like you really, it's the offense or nothing. You have to live or die by the offense. That's why so much pressure is on these guys. We're gonna find out. We really are gonna find out. And I like what Jeff King says. He says, you need players with the stamina to run that as well. I mean, we would hope that these professionals have the lungs to do it. That they're in tip-top shape, the best shape, top of the shape. I mean, top of the shape. Top shape. I mean, these are pro athletes. You would expect, or you would hope that they have that kind of shape. And I'm not saying like running this, old Chip Kelly, Oregon style offense, you know what I'm saying, where you're hiking the ball at, like every 10 seconds, that type of thing. Maybe not that up tempo, but just to no huddle in general. Get the guys up to the line of scrimmage faster, no huddle, spread the ball out, let Josh see better, and do it that way. Because even when they've been huddling, they've been having these delayed games, and the plays have not been coming in, on time, and they're running short to the clock, and they've been having these issues. Go no huddle. No huddle doesn't necessarily mean up tempo. It just means we're just not huddling up. Get to the line of scrimmage. Let's keep this certain package in. We're gonna no huddle. Keep the ball moving that way. That may be the best bet for the Bills going forward. If that doesn't work, then I have no idea. Well, you might as well just throw the season out. Throw it out. If they decide to go into no huddle this game and it doesn't work, throw it out. I don't know. I have no idea. I will say this, though. They need to find a way to get this running game going. Back again like they did early in the season when James Cook was really starting to cook. They need to get that game. We don't need Josh Allen throwing the ball 40-plus times a game. Whenever he does that, it's not good. The Bills will lose. They have lost. You cannot have Josh throwing the ball 40-plus times a game. Cut that number down. 30. It's a good mix of the run game. But when you do run it, don't run it from the shotgun. Get under center and run the ball. Do that. Like, get a mixture of what works. Passing game, no huddle, up tempo, run game, get under center, 12 personnel. Do that. Slow the game down. You know what I'm saying? Like, mix it up here and there, even if it's within the same drive. They have to do something different because it's not working. Whatever they've been doing, it's not working. It ain't working. Now, if you want to look at from a roster perspective, I mean, we could talk about that. Like, what's the thing that's going to keep the Bills, that's going to turn the Bills, around? Well, it may not be. It may not happen this year. But, Mike Harlow comes in, he says, get Josh an offensive head coach, a new OC, and a good number 2 wide receiver. Well, there you go. There you go. And I'll say this to Mike's point here. Get Josh an offensive head coach. Have the Bills handcuff themselves with a defensive-minded head coach in Sean McDermott. And I say that because of this. Suppose they end up moving away from Ken Dorsey. They decide Dorsey is a problem. We'll fire Ken Dorsey. Okay. Keep Sean McDermott. Fire the OC. Okay. Now the issue is, well, what offensive coordinator are you going to use? Are you going to bring in? Let's say they do it before the year's out. You have to look in-house. You're not going to be able to find anybody outside. So you got to go in-house. You got Joe Brady, Mike Shula, Aaron Cromer. You're just going to have to let those guys be the interim and just run with it for the rest of the year. Okay? But going into the future, hypothetically speaking, assuming Ken Dorsey gets fired, you still have Sean McDermott. Where is this team going to find an offensive coordinator? When you look across the landscape of the NFL, who's being hired as head coaches? It's offensive coordinators. It's the top offensive coordinators in the NFL. Franchises, owners, GMs, they're hiring offensive coordinators to be head coaches. So if all of the cream of the crop, the top of the top offensive coordinators are being hired to be head coaches, where is that going to lead the Buffalo Bills when it comes to finding an offensive coordinator, assuming they get rid of Ken Dorsey and keep Sean McDermott, a defensive-minded head coach? Where are they going to find an offensive coordinator? Where? And I mean a top OC with experience. They're going to have to go the route that they did, last year. Finding a young guy, first-year OC, grooming him and hoping that he, develops. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's what this offense needs. It was good and fine when we had Brian Daboll because, he was still experienced, but he was able to grow with the young Josh Allen. Now Josh Allen was where he is in the league, a seasoned veteran in the NFL. Does he really need a young offensive coordinator who hadn't really done it yet, and he's still trying to find his way, trying to figure things out? Is that what's best for this team, this offense? I mean, I don't think so. But they made their bed. They're going to have to sleep in it. They brought in Ken Dorsey, and at the time it made sense because we all assumed that Dorsey's not going to mess it up. Well, he's still figuring things out. 2 years in and 10 games into the second year, he's still figuring things out. It's not looking too hot. So what are you going to do? Where are you going to find an OC? My thing is, if that happens, they might have to pull a Baltimore Ravens thing. Do what Jim Harbaugh did. What Harbaugh did, man, and look at the college ranks. They brought in Todd Monken from Georgia. They might have to look to the offensive the college ranks and find themselves a very seasoned offensive coordinator who may have ties to the NFL, may not. But an offensive coordinator or an offensive-minded head coach who's ready to get into the NFL, I mean, maybe you can make him an OC. That might be the route that they have to take. I don't know. But that's where they are right now because they have a defensive-minded head coach. They're handcuffed to this guy. So if they want a top offensive coordinator running the ship, they're going to have to get rid of McDermott. They really are. Unless they get lucky and find a guy. Unless they get lucky and a top OC, doesn't get a head coaching job, but he decides to make a lateral move, kind of like what Eric Bieniemy did when he left Kansas City and went to Washington. Made a lateral move because for some reason he didn't make a head coach. He didn't get a head coaching job. Unless something like that happens, which is highly, improbable. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. A lot is going to I'm telling you right now, a lot is hanging in the balance when it comes to this game right here. Against the Buffalo Bills right now at 5-4, second place in the AFC East. Their conference standard, they are 2-4 in the AFC. 2-4 in the AFC. They've got 4 conference losses, and they are 8th place right now. The Bills, currently, when you look at their schedule, who do they have? Well, coming up, the next 2 games on the docket, you've got the Broncos, right? You've got the Broncos, and then you have the Jets. But after the Jets, you have the Eagles. Is that right? Let me look it up. Broncos, Jets. Come on now. Yeah. Broncos, Jets, Eagles, bye. Then you got the Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. So when it comes to conference games left on the docket, if you want to include the Broncos game, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more conference games to play. 3 division games. And the Bills already have 4 conference losses. How many more conference losses do you think they can sustain without making the playoffs? How many more do you think? Jets, Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. I think it's fair to say they have to win all of those games. They have gotten themselves to the point to where they have to beat the Jets. It starts Monday night. They got to beat the Broncos. They have to beat the Jets. You would think that they have to win almost all of them, all the AFC matchups, to give themselves cushion. And that's going to be tough. Very tough. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like Jeremy Bennett says, just went out. Simple enough plan, but we can't afford anymore. And I agree. We cannot afford anymore. I don't care what Sean McDermott says. I don't care what anybody else, on that coaching staff says when they come onto the podium after the game. And if they lose against the Broncos, well, we have a lot of football left. The season's not over, blah, blah, blah. We're still figuring things out. I got to look back. Forget all that nonsense, okay? Forget it. Just forget it. If they lose, it's likely over. They're 5-5. They'll be 5-5, 2-5 in the conference. Like Jeff King says, we lose this game, it's a wrap, folks. Understand that much. A wrap, and I'm not talking about chicken wrap. Season done. It really is, man. Like, hey, come on now. I'm just, I'm sorry, guys, that this show was not a rah-rah, shish, boom, ball show. Let's go, Buffalo type of show. I really wanted to be, like as sober as I could be. And I wanted to give y'all kind of what I'm feeling emotionally about this team and where they are right now. And maybe it's just a pessimistic view. It could be, because I don't have a crystal ball in my hand. I don't know the future. I don't know what's going to happen. For all I know, the Bills could win out and they could end the season and be friggin' win out. They just win every single game. And if that happens, I will gladly eat crow. Gladly. I don't care. I have no ego. I have no pride. So what? I was wrong. I'll admit it. But they got to show me. Okay, they got to show me. And right now, the way I'm feeling, it's not too good. And so I'm gonna go into this game, and as every game, I'm like, hey, let's go. I mean, I'm not gonna root against them. Of course, I'm not gonna do that. But I need them to show me something. Show me something this game. Show me that you have some kind of fight in you. Show me that you have some kind of tenacity about yourself, that you're not just going to give up. Where's the fight? Somebody on that offense, somebody on this team needs to step up and fill up this leadership void that seems to be, I don't know what's going on here. Shake Josh the heck up and get this thing back on track before it is completely derailed. That's the reality of the situation. That's it, man. That's where we are. That's where we are. So, I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, as we're going out, before I go ahead and do all that, and let me put my music on because, I mean, yeah, regardless of how I feel, I mean, we still got to talk about score predictions. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about score predictions, baby. We're gonna talk about it. But let me put my music on. Here it is. Come on, music. Here we go. All right. Let me know. Drop your score predictions in the chat. Bills Broncos Monday night. How do y'all feel about it? Broncos feeling good about themselves. Just a get right game for the Bills. This is the moment of truth. The Bills need to dig deep and just get a win. They need to show us something. How do you feel? Are the Bills going to win this game? You know, I think I saw somewhere where Josh has a winning record coming off of a loss. Well, that's good news. We'll see what happens. Do you have the Bills winning? Or do you have them taking an L against the Broncos? What do y'all got? Let me see here. So I'm going through the chat right now. I've got Journey coming in and says, yo, 27-20 Bills. Close game. Jeremy Bennett comes in and says, Bills 21, Broncos 17. We win simply because we are wearing blue on blue. Yep. That might be all they need, right? Bill I Am says 27-21. Bills. C Jag 17 says Bills get the dub 31-10. That would be a huge win for the Bills. Augustine says, yo, 21-10. Bills. Here we go. Now we've got some opposing predictions. Brian Lucio says Denver's going to win this game 27-24. That's really not surprising. It would not surprise me at all. Jimmy Key says, yo, 27-23 Denver. All right. Garbage Plate says, yo, Bills by $1 billion or lose and the sky will fall. Well, yeah. Absolutely. And the Bills lose, it's a wrap. Hillslayer says, yo, I see Denver taking it. All right, Hillslayer, drop the score, man. Drop the score. What do you think? Roy Collins says 24-24. Come on, man. We can't have a tie. We can't have a tie. We cannot have a tie. Charlie Kill says 22-17 Bills. I've got Michael Kelly with a 30-13 Broncos. Oh my gosh, that is a incredible defeat that the Bills will sustain. 30-13. Ooh, man. If the Bills lose like that, heads need to be on a platter. I already feel like if the Bills lose regardless, we need to see some changes, especially if it's, on the backs of the offense again. Get rid of Dorsey. But if they get blown out 30-13 at home on Monday night, I'm going to need some more. I'm going to need some more than that. First of all, Ken Dorsey better not even think about showing up Tuesday to the offense. Don't even worry about it. Don't even show up. Jeff King says 14-7 Bills. Jimmy Key says, yo, no faith in the boys. I mean, I feel you, man. Jennifer Rose says 21-24 Bills, but we aren't going to get our points until the fourth quarter like always. Wouldn't that be something, Jennifer? Like always. Bills do absolutely nothing until the fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden they go up tempo and they manage to score. But will it be enough? Will it be enough? Short Bus Terror Squad says 3-2 Broncos. Or Broncos 3-2. Imagine that. Yo, can you imagine it being like you remember that Browns game? Like a 9-6 game? Oh, that'd be so awful. Well, I mean, Jamel doesn't have no different. 13-10 Broncos. Ugly game. 13-10. Panata says 31-17 Bills. Kim bets. 40 Burger. Forget all your negative Nancy's. Go Bills. 40 Burger by Kim bets. I hear you, Kim. Now let me give my score prediction. Oh, man, this is going to be tough. My score prediction. Bills, Broncos. I'm going to go. Man, this is tough. The Bills scored 18 points last week. 24 points the week prior. 25 points against the Patriots. Let me just kind of get an average there. 3-week average on offense. Let me see here. 25, 18, 24. What is that? I'm trying to do my math here. That's 22 points a game. All right, so let me give the Bills. I'll give the Bills 23. 23 points. Bills 23. Broncos 27. It pains me to say that. It pains me to say that, ladies and gentlemen, but first time all season on Rated Rev, I have picked against the Bills. And I say the Broncos beat the Bills 27-23. It's still a close game. Bills lose by 4 points. You know, but it's still not looking good. Is that enough to keep Ken Dorsey on? We'll see. Depends on how they score, when they score, all that kind of stuff. Could be garbage time points. But I think it's going to be a Broncos victory at Highmark Stadium Monday Night Football, 27-23. Roy says, the last 5 games, Bills are averaging 20 points. That's my math is off. They got to get out of the funk soon. Yeah. I mean, will they even score 23? I don't know, man. I feel kind of... it's tough. It really is tough because they don't score their points until late. So, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with it. Okay. I'm gonna stick with it. 23 points. 23-27 Broncos over the Buffalo Bills. And we'll holler at y'all next week and we'll see what happens. I'll tell you what, this is gonna be a something. This is gonna be a week. If the Bills lose this game, pitchforks are coming out. Definitely. Like Jamel says, season's over. Kevin says, Rev, you must really want Dorsey fired. I don't have any confidence in Ken Dorsey at all. I really don't. I want things to change. And if Dorsey can make that thing, if he can make a change, then so be it, fine. But I've just seen inconsistency from him, and I've seen inconsistency from Josh. I mean, Josh hasn't been playing the best either. And when you talk to, some of the analytics guys and the film guys, I mean, you see some guys that are wide open that Josh is just missing. He's not even looking at them. But not only is he looking at them, from what they've said, like Dorsey is putting on very basic concepts, very basic in the offense. Very basic. So he has a very predictable and basic offense. And at times, Josh Allen is not even reading the field properly. So take that for what it's worth. They're obviously not getting rid of Josh Allen, Mr. $200+ million man. So who do you think's the odd man out? Josh Allen or Ken Dorsey? When backs against the wall, who's going to be the fall guy? It ain't going to be Josh. It's Ken Dorsey. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, We will see what happens. But that's it, man. That's it for Rated Rev. I appreciate you guys, man, for staying with me. Yo, this is like my therapy. I had to get this out. I really, really, really appreciate y'all for sticking with me on a late Saturday night edition of Rated Rev. Make sure you smash that like on your way out. Hit the subscribe button. And let's see what happens, baby. Let's see what happens with these Buffalo Bills. I'm always going to root for them. Just because I rooted that they're going to lose does not mean I'm not a fan. I'm just not feeling it right now. I think they're going to lose. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But we will see. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday with your friends and your family. Enjoy the games. And we'll see what happens Monday night. As always, ladies and gentlemen, grace and peace. God bless. And as always, go Bills.